Good evening. Welcome to your Ass Hurts News Network, coming to you live from the tip top of Cock Tower Square with your host, Sergeant Friday. Sarge, how you doing?
Well, hey, Cletus, I'm doing fucking awesome.
There you go.
Doing awesome. And even if the worst comes my way, I'll still be doing awesome.
Hell yeah.
Just to be around to deal with that shit, you know what I'm saying?
Just to be around to deal with it.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
fair,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. That's a fair
Right.
point. It's a good way to be. Good, bad, or indifferent. Different. Just be glad to experience it, right?
You're there to experience it, and whatever the fucking outcome may be. And you do have a bigger say in your future outcomes. That's why I made the title tonight, Karma, Where is Even? And I think I've never heard this before, and it dawned on me today because a series of events took place back to back after I had mentioned this a few times, and I think I've said this to you. I always end up even.
Yeah.
Have you heard me say that?
Yeah. Yeah. We've talked about it before.
All right, and I'm going to give people a few examples of some things that I think that this helps in my show you in my life how I think karma is working, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I've got a long time history with a particular supplier. I mean, we're going 30 years plus of business, big business transactions, millions and millions of dollars over these years. And they have subsequently been bought out by a fucking multinational corp, blah, 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 connected to Berkowitz Hathaway. Anyway, so now they're the corporate sluts in the fucking neighborhood instead of the hardworking local boys that created it. And I'm going to do a project, and the project requires a specific material, and it's a commercial type job. And I called them to see, to get some reserved or put it on order, and I was told, "Oh, we'll call you back the next day," and they didn't call me back the next day. So I called today, and I get a hold of the man I talked to, and he says, "Well, I'm kind of really committed to the customers we already have. I'm not going to be able to help you." Okay, and let me just tell you that in all my years, that company has never said anything like that ever.
Sarge,
As a
I
matter,
gotta drop real quick. I'll be right back.
right in the middle
Sorry
of the
about
fucking key parts of it. Go ahead and come back. So anyway, he tells me that, and I'm kind of shocked. I said, "You're committed to clientele, current clientele, and you can't help me, a guy that's been buying from you people for 30 years. That's what you tell me? Like, like, who am I, right?" And I just said, "Whatever," and I hung up the phone. Within a couple of minutes of that, unprompted by that. I mean, this conversation just happened between him and I. There's just no way anybody that works there knows that this conversation took place except him and I. I'm sitting at the computer and I get a notification. I open up my email, and in the email, that same corporation sent me a contract or an agreement, more like, that they're going to give me X% of my money back at the end of the year in cash simply by signing this document, right? And I'm like, so on one hand, I got Mr. Asshole over here that's causing me grief. But on the other hand, I got that same corporation actually causing me joy. It's like, what the fuck? And that's what I mean by I always return to like even. Everything kind of evens out for me. And I'm going to give you a couple examples why I think that is. But I'll give you another example. This just happened from Friday. Between Friday and Monday, this happened. I did a project, and the project required quite a bit less material and labor than I'd bid it at. So, in what I do, if I tell you the project is 10 grand, it's 10 grand. Okay. And on we go. Well, in this case, that situation came to my benefit. In other words, I made more money on that particular job because the agreed upon bid, which was in the middle of everybody else, was more than it needed to be, which is the way it works. And I reaped that reward, right? Then on Monday, we started another roof. And on Monday, I find out that I underestimated that one by not the exact quantity of the last one. Still, a lesser quantity that I made a mistake, but again, still bringing me almost back to even. In other words, the overage now is going to be offset by the underage. And I'm sure that as the season continues on, because this is the way I've tracked it through my, and actually experienced it, it always seems to end up for me that if I was supposed to sell 100 units of something, and you're supposed to do that across 20 jobs, so you get 5 units per job, it always seems that on the jobs where I got 8 or 9 units, before I finish out that list of 100, right? The other jobs that were supposed to get all 5s end up getting 3s or 4s. And eventually, as you carry it out to the end, the number evens out at 100. It's quite fucking incredible. No different than the experience I had with them giving me a hard time and not helping me to gain the material I need. On the same hand, they send me a document that's worth a couple of $1,000s for me just by putting my name on it. So it's, you see how even that is, right? Is that crazy?
I mean,
So,
that's life.
So let me relate this now to you in karma and why I think that I enjoy this particular even that I experience. And here's why I think that happens. I don't ever add to any work or create any quote that's intentionally done for sheer profit. If I know you'll pay a lot more, I won't take a lot more. Okay, I just don't. And if I know that we have an agreement, I'll follow it. I will not deviate from it at all. So I put everything in writing. I will not deviate. What I say is in that contract is getting into that project the way it's supposed to be. So I've always tried to keep my word, and I always make it so that you can trust me. I take none of your money until these projects are complete. And that's regardless of the actual cost of your project. So I kind of try to lead a pretty even life. Another example, I ordered a truck and I needed to have that truck with a rear sliding window. So parts of the material that I get are very lightweight and they're 10 foot long and they don't fit in a 5'6" box on the back of your pickup truck because that's not really a pickup truck box. That's kind of like a guy hoping he had a pickup truck box. Right? So for us guys that hope that no, we're only going to carry a ladder that folds up and extends to 17 feet. That's what I own, right? Mm-hmm. Fold it up. That ladder fits in that box.
Yeah.
Okay. That's that. But without the rear window, slider window that allows you access to the cab from the box, I can't put these 10-foot pieces of material and carry them in this truck. Now that's clearly my fault, right?
Okay.
I didn't check. I didn't consider that when I bought it.
Right.
And these 10-foot pieces of material are so commonplace in what I do that it's like it's as common as you putting your sock on before you put your shoe on. So it's clearly a complete lack of fucking paying attention and oversight on my part that I didn't do this, right? So you know, I've been told this because I've been told this actually by someone I call. I said, I need to get the rear window replaced. And other friends and people, the guys that work for me, just car friends, are like, well, just break the rear window and get the insurance company to pay for it. It'll be free. And I said, no, I can't do that. They're like, why? I'll break it for you. I go, no, I can't do that. And I know you broke it for me. I said, you're going to wreck my world. I get back to even because I try to stay fair and honest, right? And I believe that being that way is why I come back to even. Why the one job that you look like you know, oh, look at this score isn't really ever going to be a score because other jobs that are going to continue to the end of the season will make sure that it evens out by hook or crook. That's just the way the world flows around me. But I believe my part in that is how I act and interact with others, especially on a level where it matters. Like just talking on the internet. I don't know who you motherfuckers are in that chat room. And by telling you I wouldn't wipe my ass with your face, it's going to have no negative effect on me for karma because you people have no real place in my life on a day-to-day basis, right? So in that respect, that don't even count. What really counts are the things you do that affect other people or things that you do when you're that really directly would affect another person's existence. And what I do as a business or any business. right? You sell stale bread, you're fucking that guy day up, aren't you? Don't do
Yeah.
that. Don't sell fucking market if you're going to do that shit. And so that's kind of where the karma and where is even. And here's what I want to say: everybody has their own even. If you're always out chiseling and being cheap and fucking, if you're willing to change stickers on products because it's easy, you know what I mean? If you're lying, if you're going to be late for work because you got something you're doing that you don't want other people to know, or you're cheating on your significant other, or your karma will, your even from those kinds of behaviors will be equal to those behaviors you project onto others. And maybe that's been said before about karma, and I read it and forgot about it. But I can just say in my own personal life, and you need to give me your input on this too, Cletus. But it seems to me that our even is what we physically project into the world and contribute to reality.
Oh, I agree completely. Completely agree. And that's, it's not to say that bad shit won't happen, right?
No.
But good, but for, for a pound of bad, you're going to get a pound of good. That's going to even it the fuck out. And generally, if you project, something
can I just
positive,
say something? Can
what?
I just say I don't think even that applies. A pound of bad gives you a pound of good. Here's what I think happens. You're going to be able to cope with that pound of bad based on what you project out into the reality that we live in. So if you're a cheap chiseling lying fuck, right? If you're a deceiver, if you're a con man, that's when you get that bad shit comes your way, you're gonna have those tools to work from, and you're just gonna find more and more chaos, and it's gonna be a nightmare for you. Where if
Well, so let me explain what I mean by that, right? One of the big things I've always been is a fucking hard worker, right? Like I've had problems where work overtakes me and any other priority. It's been a fucking challenge of mine my entire life. Even though I've got a great work ethic and I will outwork anybody just as a mere fucking personal challenge to myself, I have gone through fucking hardships with employment, right? But I don't look negatively upon that. And eventually, what I end up in after the fact is better than what I was in before I went through the fucking hardship. You know what I mean? And I don't get down and out. I don't play fucking victim to it. I just live fucking life, ride the wave. That's and I kind of look at it like that, right? It truly is riding a wave, and maybe karma is related to that. At some point, that shit's gonna even out to sea level.
yeah, correct. A wave can't be perpetual.
Right.
You'll always have a calm sea sooner or later.
Yeah, and you
And
can you
and you
if you
can ride the waves much more effectively when what you project into reality is something that contributes in a positive or even in a non-negative way, right? All your hard work
Mhm.
and your effort and your personal desire to outwork people standing next to you, all of that attribute, when a problem does happen or a calamity, you deal with it with that particular skill set, that particular view, and you're able
Yeah.
to get through it and come out the other side at least no worse for wear or
Right.
better off, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the interesting about karma. And for all of these events to have happened and these last few days for me, and I've been saying that to the people that work for me, you just don't understand in life is what you give is what your normal even is going to be. If you lie and sneak, if you make excuses not to show up for work, if you're staying in bed with your girl longer than you're supposed to be and you're neglecting your responsibilities, when it comes time to deal with a real issue, all of those actions and behaviors are going to haunt you because that's what you're capable. That's how you deal with things, right?
Well,
So if you get on the internet and you don't want to learn and you just want other people to tell you what to think, you become highly ill-informed and an aggravating motherfucker to even want in a chat room. Cletus?
I think one of the easiest ways that I learned over the years to see this myself is being willing to look in the fucking mirror, right? Like when bad shit happens, look in the fucking mirror. What did I do to contribute to this? What
Right.
what am I doing that aided in that. And if I don't find anything, then it's just a fucking bad day. If I did find something, you know what I mean? And it's, I think a lot of people get lost in the tragedy of something fucking minuscule that in 10 years will mean absolutely nothing, and just lose all fucking sense about them. And if you remain even, if you keep yourself even, your even will stay with you.
Correct. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of, and you know, I've noticed it throughout my life. I've literally noticed this, and only recently, like just these last several days, have events happened in an order that made it obvious enough for me to realize, yeah, that's why you don't break your window, stupid, because doing something like that for some self fucking gain to save $600, okay, somewhere coming down the road, there's something waiting for you. And so there's no sense ever starting down that road. I'm not saying someone's going to rob you or anything bad, but once you start down that road of compromising what I consider just principles, you can stay away from biblical terms like morals. I'm saying just human principles of doing, you know, the next best thing you can, or, you know, the next right thing to do, and move on. And then when you do hit a calamity, you're more well equipped to deal with it. And maybe that isn't even karma, right? Maybe that's just common fucking sense.
I think karma is just a term for it, right? I mean, I'd say there's probably comparable terms for it, and karma just happens to be the one that's the topic tonight. But you know, nevertheless, you give and take, right? And what you give is what you will take ultimately.
Right.
I've thought about this with people that are like fucking thrill seekers, right? People that jump out of fucking airplanes. I've known a couple people personally that jumped out of fucking airplanes. And two of the people that I know personally, the only two I've known personally that have jumped out of airplanes, both have encountered a situation where their fucking chute didn't open.
Jesus.
And I'm like, you know, I mean, you do stupid fucking shit, you're going to win stupid fucking prizes. You jump out of an airplane enough, you're going to have a near death experience. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the way I see it. If you're an asshole to the fucking world, eventually you're going to get treated like an asshole. If you're good to the world, eventually you're going to get treated like you were good to the world.
Right. Yeah. Well, if not even that, because you approach everything that way, even people that don't treat you properly, you just deal with it.
Right.
Like I've gone through I haven't heard back from the IRS yet, but I'm positive what I did and what they had said they found and what they told me to do fixes the issue. And it took me 17 hours of aggravating phone fucking holds and hangups and callbacks and not getting your. It was a nightmare, right?
Yeah.
But I never lost my cool, never got angry, and I just was chill, and I was just projecting we need to solve this issue, and eventually it resolved itself. Was it a mini hell on earth for me? Yeah. Who wants to have a phone stuck on fucking hold for an hour and 14 minutes and then it just fucking hangs up on you? Imagine that, folks. Every time I call, I can't handle that issue here. I need to transfer you. Will you hold? Yeah. Here's your 4-digit PIN code. I go, what if I get disconnected? What number? Well, I have to transfer you. I don't know the number. So they transfer you. You go on to another hold, right? You just waited 40 minutes for that idiot to tell you that they couldn't help you. So now you're on another hold. Your hold time could be 40 to 60 minutes. Would you like us to call you back? Push 1. So you push 1, hangs up on you. You got to start over again. And I just kept at it. I mean, I'm like, come on, man, you people owe me this money. I don't owe it to you.
Oh, fuck. That's funny.
But I could tell you what, a long time ago when I was young, being crazy, I wouldn't have put up with that at all.
Yeah.
I would have just turned everything over to a cash system. Said, all right, steal my money. See if you get another nickel from me. That's how I would have handled it in my 20s.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of fucking funny how all this stuff works out in the circle. So anything new going on, Cletus? Anything? If they found Sebastian, has Seth stopped his nonsense? Is there all this more drama coming out again, or what?
Oh, it's just, you know, another wave. Another wave away from
wave
even.
of drama.
Another wave of drama away from even, right? It's varying intensity in waves, right? I mean, the big thing now is this presentation of a push to clear Seth, and all the drama about that, and
Clear him.
yeah, he wants to be publicly cleared by law enforcement.
Well, they can't do that till they find the child.
Well, I agree. I mean, I personally, and the explanation that was given is the reasoning for it is that he could achieve gain more resources from with certain organizations and whatnot if he were cleared by law enforcement. And my
Really?
suggestion is that if that's the case, have those resources, build a bridge between those resources and law enforcement. Let law enforcement talk to them, give them whatever comfort they can. And if that's not good enough, then you're just not going to be able to work with those resources. But to me, that sounds ludicrous. I mean, if there's a resource out there that wants to help, they're going to come and help. They may not do it the way Seth wants, and they may not work directly with Seth, but I would think they would come and do it. So I really don't understand the benefit of him, or why he's got such a strong desire to be cleared by law enforcement. But personally, I can't find any reason in it, so I feel like it's an unreasonable thing for whatever his motive is.
It's funny, Beckles. There is truth to what you say, but imagine being a mother where you're being stalked and harassed on the internet. People were going by your house taking pictures of all kinds of day and the fucking night, following you and your husband around. You went to a rally somewhere to fucking get out the word for your kid, and they interpreted that as you going out for a joyride on your Harley. And then people stalk you, take pictures of your camera, start putting them up on the internet. I don't know what people consider basic common fucking decency, but apparently it isn't mourning with the parents until their child is found, and then and only then, when the circumstances of how that child went missing, dealing with those facts as they arrive, rather than judging people and then fucking treating them like criminals and stalking them. Okay. And then the father is no better, Seth himself, coming out causing all this bullshit and rift between him and those other two. We know those people had fucking problems. Stupid. Not you, Beck. I mean Seth. He's a stupid fuck. She divorced you. You divorced one another. She's with him now. And you still got this fucking problem. Shut the fuck up and go get therapy, Seth. Go look for your kid. I mean, he made a play of him outside. I guarantee you that most of the time he was ever on any of these fucking hunts for his child, he sat in the parking lot talking to people. That's my personal opinion for what I've seen. I never seen this guy deep in the fucking bayou looking for his kid. Did you, Cletus?
No, the two times I saw him.
Guess what? That's perfectly fine for an overweight guy with a bad shoulder to treat looking for his own kid, in all fairness. But for him to then attack and everybody would attack the other side? I mean, he's leading the charge? No, I'm sorry. The man can't be cleared until the child is found, and he shouldn't even be asking about being cleared. That's not what his ask should be. It shouldn't be about him.
It should be find my son. That's the only ask he should have. He shouldn't give a fuck about being cleared or not. And I mean, and it's one of those things.
Use that as a motivator if you need to, right? People say, "Oh, you can't do that." Okay, watch me. I remember being told that when I was in school. They said, "You got to learn how to type." I said, "My ass, I'm gonna have a secretary." You sure about that? They give you yeah, I'm sure about that. And then later in life, I got me a secretary just so that not only was I sure then, but I proved to myself I wasn't lying.
Well, and it's one of those things, and I've asked the question before offline to certain people: are there no government? Are there no advocates for families from law enforcement in these situations? And the answer is no. And I'm like, I feel like as many missing children and as many missing people as there are, and that occur, that would be something, that would be a resource that would be wildly beneficial to the public, that is a relatively low cost. Fuck a social worker, right? Get somebody dedicated in law enforcement that is there providing contact to these people for resources that will help. That way, when you've got a resource saying, well, I would help, but you have to be cleared by law enforcement first, that advocate could say, yeah, disregard that organization. They're fucking after money. Right. They want you to be cleared so they don't get sued when they fucking get involved and you end up being dirty.
Right. Right, but there should be a non-disclosure. There should be the contract that's signed if you're going to get them involved.
Well, but
and they should say our job is to look for the child. It's not to determine anybody's guilt or innocence, regardless of who they may or may not be.
I feel like back to my point though, is I feel like we missed the mark as a society of not having some type of advocate in these situations, right? Because I mean that it's extremely discouraging to hear that from people directly involved in a situation like this, that no, there isn't. You have to go find your own. Well, I mean,
these streamers are any of them starting out their stream? Sebastian Rogers missing day number. This picture. I mean, so my point is, this community could massively help the families and the children, all kinds of people. I mean, there's just millions of us out here, and I don't mean with money, even with, just your stream bringing it up.
Yeah. I mean, it's a powerful tool we have that we talk on every day, right? It really is, and I've seen the benefit of it in this situation a few times firsthand, right? When we started to put the billboards up, I mean, the amount of money that poured in for that instantly, just within days, to get them up in 22 places for 2 months plus, was just remarkable. It blew my damn mind. And then back to the beginning, when we were streaming and we're down there with Seth at the second time we met him, and literally there was somebody else streaming there too, and JLR's who the other person came for, but there's people watching that came out to help.
Right.
And it's like, I mean, it's a powerful thing. And instead of more people realizing that and realizing the benefit that there could be, we just chase the fucking drama and the latest fucking, whatever, the latest plead from one parent or the other, instead of seeing what we can do to help. And it's right at our fingertips.
Right here. That's what I mean. All the solutions that we can all come up with, like I don't know, they're going after Harley Davidson. Have you seen that latest thing?
No, I haven't.
Like Sturgis, you're familiar with that?
Yeah.
Apparently the Harley Davidson fucking exhibit was just ignored by all the bikers. There's some people in the organization, and Harley's going woke.
Oh.
So here's where I differ with what they're doing. Now that's a big company. It's all American. It originated in America. I mean, that's a huge American icon, right?
Right. Yep.
And so rather than destroy that and unemploy whatever workers are here, why aren't you going after the board of directors that is doing this? You see, the problem that we have when it comes to solutions is oftentimes the solution that seems likely the best road, which is like destroy them financially. Mm-hmm. You're not thinking, people aren't given the chance to think through what that means. So to take Harley Davidson out of the equation for an American motorcycle manufacturer because they went woke may not be the correct punishment. But exposing these woke board members, these CEOs, their friends, their families, their whatever you could dig up on them people, and continue for the public to focus on that and point that stuff out and talk about that stuff rather than destroying Harley. Destroy the people within that are trying to destroy. They're trying to destroy Harley through you. You're their fucking weapon, and they weaponize you against your own nation's oldest, longest, original, one of the original fucking makers of motorcycles in this country. And they're using us to destroy it with their woke ideology being pushed out into their fucking advertising and their actions. And it's those people that do the advertising and push those actions. Those are the ones that need to be targeted, not with violence, okay, but with sunlight. Not,
yeah.
And yet, see that the same thing with Budweiser. I was never for the Budweiser, even with the NFL with the kneeling. I was never really interested in all that. But I want to know who in the NFL and why, and what are these people trying to accomplish by trying to go after the American flag? right? So why quit watching destroy the institution of football, which is a game that no other country in the world plays unless we bring our teams, right?
Yep.
You want to destroy Disney the same way. You see, what a lot of people aren't realizing is the institutions that these woke sons of bitches are getting involved with at the top are the very unique things that are only alive or only exist because of we, the people in America. We created these. You can't just give it to Walt Disney. Walt Disney had an idea, but it took us to make that idea real and to let his imagination and all the stuff they were doing for kids become real, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a pure American fucking business. So many things here. And they get these woke people on the boards, and those people don't get any attention. We just have set out to go destroy Budweiser, destroy Disney, destroy Harley Davidson. See the pattern? And you wonder why I say I'm smarter than most of you motherfuckers. So my point again would be that we're capable of taking these actions, but we're also more than capable of being fucking dumb bastards and taking the wrong kind of action. You see?
Yeah.
Where action is warranted, action needs to be weighed against consequence. And what is the action you're going to take against this particular company? You know, if it's some other, you know, like there's a lot of companies that you could just, like social media companies, you want to take something out that's not going to change the landscape of anything. Take out a social media company like Facebook. I mean, MySpace is still out there, right? Isn't he the one that started all this shit? So take down Facebook. You want to boycott something. But again, like with Harley, that's just a unique machine. Indians trying to come back. I don't know if they're even making that strong of a comeback. I don't know if you know that.
Indian,
but anyway,
yeah,
the Indian brands. But again, it's these people, these boards of directors. How many of you are stockholders? How many can't go and just start demanding that the people running this company be removed for their outlook, their desires? Right?
Yeah.
Because most of it comes down to just basic perversions, unfortunately, when you look at the Democratic left.
It seems like we have a problem as a society finding our even.
Yeah, because there's one side that won't let you find even. You can't even settle on what a gender is. You can't agree on climate. You can't agree on weather. You can't agree on how you're supposed to move from one place to another. Everything that's already got a solution, everything that can be actually made better, they're not just contrary to it, but they're looking to make us go backwards in time. I mean, This electric car was the first motor vehicle that wasn't steam was fucking electric. Did you know that?
The first motor vehicle that wasn't steam was electric. I was not aware of that.
Yeah. This ain't new. Anyway, my point is that everything they want to do is go backwards. I mean, we had windmills that pumped water, that irrigated fields, windmills that made electricity. And those windmills were always in rural areas like farms. And they served a vital purpose. Wind and sun energy is very, very applicable for places like that. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you want to have somebody with 500 batteries to power his fucking place. You pretty much want to have it away from the inner city, don't you? You don't want that next to your neighbor next to you doing that. So there's no fucking downside to wind and solar for those locations. There really isn't. And I think people on the right should just pull their fucking pants up and just start admitting the truth. There's a place for all of this stuff. Not one or the other is the only solution. And right? Isn't that fair?
No, I think that's completely fair.
Did you listen to any of that Trump and Elon Musk conversation?
No, I haven't.
That was an interesting conversation, bro. It was an interesting conversation because you get to find out more about Musk, but Musk is he's all about solutions and making things simpler and more of them. It's just kind of interesting listening to his idea of climate. He explained the climate crisis and said, I mean, we've got hundreds of years before we have to worry about a dangerous threat to society. And in the meantime, you can't denigrate the fossil fuel industry. They're the ones that allow everything we're doing to even happen. So why denigrate them? But in the same point, he's correct. Why aren't we using, he didn't bring that up, but I've said, why aren't we using thorium and nuclear and advancing our ability to do fusion? Those are all clean alternatives. And what's wrong with a clean alternative? Nothing. So even at Fukushima, I don't know if you know that, but you could live back there again. Did you know that?
No, I wasn't aware of that.
I didn't know Elon visited that, and he ate fucking food grown in that region. Fruit, vegetables, or something. Yeah. Yeah. So that conversation was quite interesting because everything Trump was saying, I've already heard 50 times. I don't need to hear that again.
That's I didn't take any interest in it. I did think about it today when I was looking at Starlink and realized that they cover pretty much everywhere now in the U.S. So I was considering signing up.
Well, I just thought that the Musk's points of view I can relate to completely. I think there's always a middle of the road, or there's a pointed solution that'll put you back in the middle of the road. Fair enough.
Yeah. Well,
And
and I think
sometimes that pointed solution is you really got to go after the problem.
well, yeah, and I don't know. It seems like as a society, that's where we've lost our way.
And all because
You
of
know?
this social media and these people surrendering their ability to think.
Yeah. We gotta use social media to communicate, but not just to communicate to tell each other to go fuck our mothers. Actually work towards solutions.
But some of these
Work
people
toward
do
that
need to go
middle of the
fuck their
road.
mothers, bro. But there's many of them that do need to go do that, or as far as we know, have been doing that. Okay. Yeah, I mean, look at it. It's incredible to me that you could claim knowledge is hearing something on the news. That's a piece of information. Its knowledge is yet to be understood or discovered until you start looking into it. That's where
Right.
you could claim knowledge. But that's just data. It's like all this stuff, like with all these crime cases. I keep saying to people, you can only and are only supposed to be paying important attention to your government and its actions and the arrest of whoever's been charged. That's all that matters, because in that is the answer. Okay, it just is. If they didn't do it right, if they didn't read them as rights, all of that stuff needs to be, those boxes all need to be checked. And if they can't be checked, then there's massive questioning, like with the Koberger case. You need to stay on it till those answers come forward. And thankfully, his lawyer is doing that. But those issues, once settled, whichever way the wind blows, then you move forward to a phase of showing this guy did or didn't do it. But that's a completely separate phase than the process that they started this poor kid with. And all of us start with being arrested. But the irony of it is just too much for this. I'm going to bring something up here. Let me see. No, I want more. Where's other bookmarks? I have a hard time navigating X for some reason. So now this is gonna play into politics, but this is the black voters in Philadelphia, a room full of women, and they're talking to Decision 2024 MSNBC Now. Okay. And I really think this is an interesting thing, because it comports with what I've been seeing, and the argument presented to me so far is that black women will vote differently than black men. Okay. And I'm starting to think that shit may not be true. Watch this. It's a very short video.
How hard has inflation hit you?
It hit me hard. It's hitting me hard.
What do you blame for it?
I blame the federal government at this point. If a working class mom who works as a paralegal cannot buy a $2 bell pepper because it's now $5, imagine a mother living on food stamps. Imagine a mother who's making minimum wage trying to feed children. They're killing us without killing us. If you understand that, they're killing us without telling us they're killing us. They're hurting people in ways that they can't help themselves. It's either feed my child or how about feed my children and I don't, but I have to go work.
How hard has inflation hit you?
It hit me hard. It's hitting me hard.
What do you blame for it?
I blame the federal.
Sorry for playing that over.
No, you're
Now,
good.
the reason I played that is, and there's also proof that she's actually used AI to create images of a whole bunch of people outside of her airplane on a tarmac.
I saw a clip about that today.
Okay.
Or a
No,
thumbnail.
there's a guy that zooms right in on the engine of the aircraft that reflects all the refueling trucks, maintenance trucks, baggage trucks. Yeah, doesn't show any people. But here's why I point it out is I want people in the room to know that I don't care what the polls are telling you. Anybody with any fucking sense at all knows the economy is a fucking nightmare, especially when it comes to food shopping. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do.
I mean, Trump keeps bringing up bacon, and I keep busting my buddy's chops that he's bringing up bacon all the time because he's a bacon freak, like my buddy Frank with the elephant.
The elephant guy.
The elephant. I call him Frank Elefante, although that is totally not his name. But yeah, I think he should have changed his name to Elefante once he became an owner of an elephant. What do you think?
I would agree.
Yeah, I think it would be country, right? It'd be awesome. Yeah. So anyway, with this Kamala stuff, the idea that they're saying she's polling even within anywhere near where Trump is polling can't be true, because this is another group of, and I've seen several groups of black women now, which do historically vote, not even historically. Yeah, I guess they do, different than the black male counterpart. And this season, I'm telling you, I paid so much attention in 2016, and there were obviously black people voted for the guy, but there were never people saying the things they're saying now about the Democratic Party and about Kamala and Biden, the economy, and openly supporting Trump. It's rather fucking shocking. Well, I suspect he's going to get 40% of the black vote, and that wipes out the Democrats completely. They can never win an election with that kind of a loss of voters.
Well, and
They
I mean, I
literally
think I kind of see it as a situation of, we're not in as a nation, we're not in a state of being able to make decisions based on frivolous wants or needs. Everybody minus the 1% are pretty much in the same boat. They're tired of paying too fucking much and working too fucking hard to have fucking nothing.
And here's where the tables turn. What you're saying is sums up the point that I'm making. I don't have a problem with the price of bacon. I don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just buy it, right? I know my eggs the last time I bought were $4. It is what it is. It's not going to hurt me financially. So there are a lot of people like that. But let me just remind folks that they're on both sides of the aisle. And a lot of us that are like that are more apt to vote for somebody, even though I can afford $4 a dozen eggs, right? I don't want to be paying $4 or $5 for a dozen fucking eggs, because when I retire, it's going to be that much. Now it's an issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as you look forward, you absolutely want a stable economy with fair prices, low prices, and that you can't vote for Biden. That just is not going to happen. Right? I mean, Kamala, I don't think this woman stands a single chance. I think this guy is going to run the country, except for the major liberal states, the California, New York. He's only 12 points down in New York. He was never anywhere near 28% between Hillary and Joe. He never climbed above that much popularity in New York. Now all of a sudden, it's down to only 12% favor her over him. That's insanity, Cletus. But that's because, again, now you know the quantity of the people that are affected by all of these prices, the real poor, and the upward mobile poor, or even the early middle class, are so affected by the economy, especially with food prices. Gas prices suck, right?
Yeah.
But imagine it, like she's saying, you got to pay $5 for a bell pepper. That's fucking incredible, bro. And you know that pepper's going to last not even a meal. So if you got to feed 3 people, right? So again, and that's what Trump is going to win on. That's going to be an unstoppable victory for him. And I can see that no matter whose policies you like or don't like, I just can't see any Democrat at this point overcoming the problems with this economy.
I'm anxious to see the outcome. I really am, because I don't click on the first political stream. I don't click on news streams about politics. But what I can tell you is everything that I have seen come into a news feed, probably in the past 2.5-3 weeks, has
Mhm.
all been about Kamala positive, Trump negative.
Yeah.
And lately, the past several days, what I've seen is Kamala and what's his name, Waltz, are leading the polls. Right, that's the thumbnail. Now, I did click on one to see what the hell they were talking about, and it was it was deception at its finest in the headline, because if you didn't click on the video, you would assume she's leading the polls across the nation, and actually it was in one state. And it's
Mhm.
like, well, I mean, that's no big fucking deal. It's really no surprise. I
Well,
think it was Minnesota.
I did the map this time,
Yeah.
and in the map that I created, I give him, which wouldn't be unhistorical. I gave him Nevada, and it wouldn't be unusual for him to get Arizona. Okay,
Mhm.
that means when you take the other states that are going to be Republican, like South Carolina, Florida,
Yeah.
Georgia's
Uh-huh.
going to go his way. But here's the key. In the way my electoral map pans out, he ends up with 305 electoral votes, which means he can still lose Georgia and Pennsylvania and still win, because they only amount for 34 electoral votes.
Yeah.
You see? And that's why I'm concluding I can't see him losing both of those states. I can't see him losing either of those states. But if he were to lose both of them, he still has 271 electoral votes. He just needs to win Nevada and Arizona and all the other states that vote Republican from the last two elections that voted for him. That's it.
Yeah.
And the election's over.
Well, we'll see how it shakes out. I'm very anxious to see it.
Yeah, we can't turn the time forward, unfortunately, right? I mean, it'd be nice to jump ahead and come back, because then we could be stock market gazillionaires. I'd make a hell of a 1%. How about you, Cletus?
And I'd
Fuck
make
yeah, bro.
1%.
Right?
I would just cash out and not be part of the percentage at all.
No, that shit would be rocking, bro, being part of the 1%. I don't even know what I would do. Probably not much more than I do now. I'd probably find something good to do. Well, I actually got a couple good causes I've supported throughout my life. But yeah, 1%er, baby.
1%er.
Yeah, the stream's gonna make us a 1%er, Cletus. We have I don't even know, a couple hundred followers or something. 22,201 or 10.
Oh, there you go.
Look at that.
Hey.
We're only about fucking 4 or 5 million shy from the fucking where we need to be. Right? And can we count on the 5.62 billion morons? Can we?
Well, I hate to count them out.
Well, I'm just wondering. It's across the stream now. Look at that.
If I counted them out, then there wouldn't be any point in coming on here. We could just I could call you. Yeah.
Holy fuck, it's just insane. Well, we could create our own news agency, our own broadcast towers.
Well, I reckon that's exactly what this is. Your Ass Hurts News Network.
There you go. Atop a Cock Tower in Beijing, China.
Right.
Liverpool
And
Balls Convention Center.
tomorrow, if I don't get distracted, if it's a slow day and I don't get distracted looking at fucking drones and shit, trying to decide if I want to buy one or not, maybe I'll look into press credentials so that we can go to the White House and join what's his name, Peter Doocy, and watch you get drug out for harassing and heckling that White House press person.
He looks like fucking that guy Bob. What was his name on fucking The Simpsons? What was that dude Bob's name on The Simpsons?
I don't remember.
With that crazy ass hair like that. Backstage Bob or some bullshit like that. I don't know what his name was, man. But yeah, he looks like, except he's white, but he looks like her. Yeah. That should be her meme, literally. Fucking hey, man. We live in a crazy, crazy, crazy world. Yeah, so that's kind of all. I'm just got to stick to it. Now, they're talking about Peter Busey. Kamala Harris ditched her press pool to avoid speaking to the media. She's supposed to travel everywhere she goes with a press pool We just learned that she left her press. Yeah. It's awesome, man.
She left her press. Was this what was this when she attended the same event where they allegedly created an AI audience or crowd or whatever it was you were talking about?
Yeah, the airplane audience, yeah.
Yeah.
And a
Wow.
hangar. She
You
had
know,
an hangar.
I meant to say something about this a minute ago when you were talking about that, but you remember that fucking video that you pulled up from Allegedly Innocent? The one that I was just sitting here like I can't even fucking discuss it because I'm looking at it and know that the entire video is fake. I saw that same fucking video on something the other day. Fuck, what the fuck was it? It was some news agency had that video up and were playing it, talking about these same shit. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is crazy. This is fucking crazy. Like you've got the mainstream media talking about the wackadoodle fucking conspiracy theories that everybody else is talking about on fucking YouTube. That shit's wild to me.
Well, and all like now they released 2 hours of body cam footage from the police. And yeah, it's absolutely it's just stunning, man. It's as bad. It's not, actually, when you think about it, it's absolutely no different than the guy that was in the school book depository overlooking the route and took a shot, and nobody had that building shut down for the day. Why was that building even still open? Why were any businesses that had any height at all, more than one story, why they were allowed to be open?
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, how could such mistakes be made? And then you got to ask that question. Is it intentional? And it just looks as stupid. It's as stupid as could be, but is that in and of itself intentional? Right. That's I don't doubt it for a minute, because I don't think there's anybody in office and especially in the bureaucracy that isn't somehow criminal or willing to give orders that on their surface don't look criminal, but in the end up with a man who was being killed.
Yeah. And one being killed. Yeah.
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 And one being killed, two being wounded. We live in a society. I think we all need to get our head around the fact that we are run by the criminals. You go to California and they favor the criminals. What about the working guy? What about the guy that pays the taxes? What about that guy? We don't get any representation. Fight for the illegal immigrant. Give them the money. What about us? It's almost like we live in a foreign fucking land.
Well, and we were talking about what you were wanting, what your topic was tonight. The first thing that popped into my mind, no shit, was the Democratic Party. Karma is a bitch, right? And it will catch up to you. And it's almost one of those situations where I think deep down, that's why I'm anxious for the election, because I really think that it's got, the writings on the wall that the bill has come due for the bullshit to stop. And we need to get a little closer to even, because all of the crazy nonsense bullshit that has been pushed for too fucking long has been pushed for too fucking long. And it's time to get back to even.
Right. We have to circle back to the center, because there's no glory in this big fucking the hoopla of nonsense. You look at, Kamala Harris's running mate. I'm going to do some more research on this, but there's some political people that come in here, Stacey and another girl, Genealogy, and if you guys hear this, what I want you to do is look into the accusation of the governor Tim Walz, his state defrauding or stealing $250 million of federal money to feed the kids. It could be as much as $500 million. And all the departments that money ran through were all departments that he hired the top 3 officials to run those departments. That's Kamala Harris's running mate, Cletus.
Well,
$250 million in fraud for a fucking Feed the Kids and the Poor program. $250 million. It's $250 million fucking dollars. How the fuck do you misappropriate, lose, or fucking defraud the state and the government out of $250 million? And it could be as much as $500 million. That's Tim Walz's government there. They went from an $18 surplus to they'll be in deficits in 2 years. $18 billion surplus in that state of Minnesota. Fucking state. Listen, if I pissed in the wind, I'd hit every resident. That fucking state ain't that big, folks. Okay. How the fuck do you burn through 18 billion? And in 2 years, you're going to be behind. You're going to be underwater. How the fuck do you do that? How do you steal up to $500 million fucking dollars? And this is the guy that's going to be her running mate. It's incredible, isn't it? Where's that in the news? Shouldn't that be the topic? Holy fuck.
I think you just made it one. I'm gonna have to look into that a little bit myself. That's interesting.
There's a big article about it from, I think it's a Fox News reporter, and there's the streamer, one of the black streamers that I listen to, and I hate having to identify him as that fucking color, to be honest with you. But I feel it's warranted during this fucking particular emergency because they show things that you don't see on other media outlets, and they're not fucking personal websites made to look professional.
Yeah.
You know, they're CNN, they're MSNBC, like that little interview with those black women I showed. It came from one, right? And that's real. It's MSNBC. Yeah, so it's kind of fucking stunning. And that guy, if that's, and I don't doubt that it's inaccurate. I don't doubt that. There's another woman. She's a Dalton mayor. I think it's in Illinois, and she got elected mayor, and I think she's got that town. She absolutely has the town to the point where it can't make payroll. It has to start firing people. But she did no wrong. But she did no wrong.
Down, sure, right?
And she showed up with a $10 million surplus in this county. This is like a county, right? And now there's $13 million. Not only $13 million missing and gone and confused, but that includes taking all the money that you would need to make payroll. Listen, it's amazing how, and this relates, just so you folks know, I can't say this with enough seriousness. You have to follow me here. Those are the same type of people that you guys follow around on YouTube as streamers. The cons and the fucking people that tell you all these stories and this and that about themselves. And in the end, they're just a fucking grifter. Whether it be for a click or it be for your $13 million hidden in your fucking, in your town's vault somewhere. Or it be the $250 million. We're fucking surrounded by people like that. Some of them just do it for fucking pennies at a time. But believe me, there's a lot more of them. These big ones are noticeable, but you're surrounded by people that do this. And we need that karma to snap. That needs to stop, bro.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Right? The title. I'll make a fucking title to get you to click on it so I can make a fucking penny. Because I think that's what they pay you per view, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Or a portion thereof, right? Maybe a tenth of a penny. I don't know. It's not a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. As long as you abide by their community guidelines, they'll give you 10 cents, 100 views or something.
Yeah. 10 cents for 100 views. Right?
Yeah.
Fuck, that's not even a penny a view.
No, it's a tenth of a penny a view.
You know, these grifters out here still talking about Idaho 4 and the guy with the smelly feet. If you guys haven't heard that story, it's because it ain't out there yet. But mark my fucking words, Kohlberger's going to have smelly feet before this is over.
Yeah. Did you know there was a statement that was left out of the PCA where Dylan actually noticed a foul odor?
Yes. He was not only dressed in black, but he smelled feet.
Oh fuck, that's funny.
Clad in black. Maybe it was he clad in black because he was a black man, and that's just one way to say he was black. Are you trying to be politically correct, or was he wearing a black outfit? That's all I want to know. Define clad, if you would, please, Cletus.
Clad. I'll have to look it up.
Oh, isn't this fucking funny though? Clad in fucking black. He's describing a fucking black man, not Brian Kohlberger.
They have been saying martial law is coming, but looting and stuff will get worse during that time. I remember
the 20 million immigrants in. Listen, that's why they let them in.
I remember the martial law conversation coming up in 2020 I remember it come. I swear I remember it coming up a little bit in 2016, if I'm not mistaken. I know 2020 was not the first time in the recent past, say the past decade and a half, that I've heard it talked about. And I'm just like, I almost feel like that's just another one of those fucking scare tactics that they use to get you distracted.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not to say that it couldn't happen. I mean, but that's like Nostradamus, and you twist what he said 300 years later, and the Twin Towers fell, and you connect it to him, right? I
Yeah.
mean, can that happen? Sure. When it happens, I don't know if that means we know anything or we're being prophetic. I just think, that's something that could have happened at any time. And matter of fact, didn't they call out the National Guard and stuff like that to put down the blacks, and then to enforce the schools, right?
Yeah.
That was a form of martial law, I guess.
I would say if anybody hears that martial law is coming, they go look for that tweet from Elon that he put out last night and share it with them.
That fucking tweet was badass, bro. I got a brother kinship. I got a kinship with fucking Musk. I like that fucking tweet, bro. To me, that was the best tweet he ever sent, ever.
Yeah,
no matter what. Funny. Even if he sent a tweet that cured cancer, this still surpasses it for being epic. Fuck yeah, man. I found unity with him. Once I saw that, I was like, yeah, there he is.
You were fired the fuck up about that one, man. That shit
Dude, it was like, cuz, where you been hiding? Come on out and say you're Sergeant fucking Thursday or something. Be Sergeant Saturday or something, god damn it.
Oh, fuck.
Man. That fucking shit is funny. Well, I want to tell a quick political story. So, yeah, I don't know if you want to hang for that or not. I don't know that you'll even yeah, there you go. So this is for Stacy Karma and for Genealogical Girl and for anyone else that's coming here that knows me from when I was doing politics on a daily fucking basis for 4 fucking years, maybe more. I've been very critical of General Flynn. You guys know that. Many of you know why. Most of you have no clue. And I'm not going to get into it, but suffice it to say, I was critical of General Flynn because of his actions and how all of that bullshit that helps support the narrative of Russiagate, let's be clear, Big Flynn, the big victim, was a huge part in supporting the narrative of Russiagate against Donald Trump. A lie, a complete fabrication. General Flynn ended his criminal proceedings against the government by the government enjoining his motion to dismiss. And in his motion, he alleged inappropriate behavior and being forced and coerced to make the confessions that he made. That was General Flynn's argument and the motion to dismiss. That motion was then enjoined by the Department of Justice's Bill Barr, by the order of Bill Barr. And that case against General Flynn, the judge then flipped out, and eventually it ended up being nothing and it went away. But let me be very clear, folks. This is why I say to you that General Flynn is not who you think he is. He's not on your team. General Flynn, I went after him again, okay, on Twitter, his brother, pointing out that based on what he alleged happened to him by the government of the United States, that it makes no sense at all. It's beyond comprehension that he has yet to bring a civil action against the federal government for doing what he claimed they did in that motion to dismiss. Okay? He's yet to bring that case. And making that statement, they replied, him and his brother, that they were working on that. And that was a year ago. Still no fucking word of that case. And why do I bring this up? Well, because if you look at the fucking real news, folks, you'll see that Donald J. Trump is suing the Department of Justice, okay, for $100 million fucking dollars for doing to him similarly what Flynn alleged they did to him. Yet Trump didn't wait 2 seconds. The minute the case was dismissed, he immediately filed paperwork within 10 days to go after the federal government because the federal government violated the constitutional limits placed upon it. It ignored and crossed and stepped beyond the limits that they're to be held to go after Trump on federal charges with a special counsel. Okay. That was all destroyed in a court of law, thrown out. And now he's suing them. And yet, to this very fucking moment that I tell you this, Where's Flynn's lawsuit against the same Department of Justice that he alleges coerced and intimidated and threatened him to plead guilty to charges he was not guilty of? Where is that fucking lawsuit, General Flynn? Where? And even if that lawsuit gets knocked out because you have no standing, that still is only to be discovered after you file the suit. And yet there's no suit from you, Flynn. That's why I can't stand General Flynn. He was part of that Russiagate game that cornered Trump and trapped Trump off under this illusion that he was a Russian fucking spy. Flynn played his role. And his role helped keep that whole fucking thing alive. It gave the media teeth to bite him. Well, they got General Flynn for talking to the Russians, right? And you all think he's on your team. Sometimes, folks, the things that are really, really hardest to see are those that are right in front of your nose. And sometimes, even though I've told this story about General Flynn many, many times, many people take offense to it, or I don't give a fuck what they think about me, but dismiss it hat in hand. But now, the reason I bring it up today is because Donald Trump shows you exactly what you're supposed to do when your constitutional rights are stomped and trampled on. You go after them. And I suggest anybody that's in politics and is familiar with the gentleman, General Flynn, that I'm referring to, get on his fucking timeline and ask him why he's not doing to the federal government what Trump is doing, considering what they kind of did to him was even worse. Okay? If not equal. Absolutely equal, if not worse. Where's his lawsuit? Mr. I'm on your fucking team. You ain't on my team, Flynn. You never were, never have been. The same asshole that could have told you throughout the entire 4 years that Trump existed that QAnon was a government-run operation. A man that refused to tell you that, refused to dissuade you from that, and only did so 2 years after Trump had lost that election. That's the fucking guy you guys idolize. You think he's a fucking on Trump's team. He's on your team. He's on. That guy is an enemy. He should be fucking having dinner with President Obama. That's where he belongs. The fact that he worked for him and looking at what you can look at about him right now, he never stopped working for Obama. That guy is a super, super duper piece of shit. And with that, I'm going to end this stream. If Genealogy Girl or Stacey Karma, if you guys can cut this, I know Genealogy, you're good at that. Cut this and post this with some type of Flynn headline. I'd really definitely appreciate that. And with that, folks, live from Beijing, China, on top of Cock Tower, never to forget the Lick of My Balls Convention Center. This is your host, Sergeant Friday, with Your Ass Hurts News Network. Tomorrow night, I will not be available at 9, and I will be streaming again Thursday. I forgot to tell Cletus that, but since he signed out so prematurely, too fucking bad. Everybody have a good night.